Alright, so this is going to be the build vlog of the Huntsman knife, and to start off, I'm going to try and get myself a template of this. All I really did was just search up on Google Images Huntsman knife, and it's not that hard to get an image of a Huntsman knife. This is just directly from the Steam community. Where'd it go? There it is. Whoops. I'm just going to... It won't let me open the image. That's weird. Ah, there it is. Okay, so we have this over here, and we're going to save image as, and we're going to put it in the little Huntsman knife folder that I made. And we're going to bring it up. Now, I read up on some dimensions for this knife, and apparently it's 11 inches in length overall. So what we're gonna do is take our trusty little ruler and measure out 11 inches. That's a lot more than 11 inches. So I'm just going to make it a bit smaller. And that's almost right. It has to be a bit smaller though. It's a bit too small. I think I'll just work with this. Okay, so this is the size I'll be working with, and apparently people just don't understand how simple it is to make a template. They keep asking me, what template did you use? What template did you... It's honestly, I literally just take a piece of paper like this, I tape it onto the monitor, like that, and then I just grab a pencil and I start tracing it. That's honestly what I do. It's really simple. If you have a monitor big enough, then you can easily do something like this. Even if you don't, you can always just take a regular picture of a Huntsman knife and print it out yourself. It's honestly not that hard. I prefer tracing it because A, it doesn't waste ink, and B, I can easily erase things if I've made a mistake, and I can add my own dimensions in if I have to. But normally, that's not the case, since you can honestly just size this out on a simple program such as Photoshop and print it out yourself. Not that hard, people. Not that hard. And bingo, bango, bongo. We have our little template. It's already done. It only takes you like 4 minutes maximum, honestly. Even all these details that I had to draw, they didn't take that long at all. They really didn't. It only takes a few minutes to simply trace something that you see on your computer screen onto paper. You literally tape it onto your screen and you draw it out. Obviously, next thing we're going to do is cut it out with a knife. I use this box cutter / utility knife. I find it a lot easier to use than X-Acto knives. Simply because, well, it's not that it's easier to use, it's just a lot more reliable. It doesn't exactly break on you. Well, it does, but if it does, it doesn't, you know, it's not done for good. Like, you can just take the thing off, and this thing will easily last you up to, like, years if you take care of it correctly. And that's why I prefer this much more over X-Acto knives. But if you use X-Acto knives, that's completely fine. Honestly, just any type of knife will do the job. Any type of knife that's meant for cutting paper, it will do the job. It's not that hard to find a knife that can cut paper, to be honest. Alright, so we have our basic template thing nice and cut out. And the reason I did this before I started making my hardened paper is to make sure, you know, how do I want to make the hardened paper? Do I want to fold it over like this, or do I want to fold it over like this? There's a few different ways you can make hardened paper, and choosing which way to do it is one of the most important ones. Now, obviously, since this thing fits almost perfectly side to side on a piece of paper, I'm going to fold it over widthwise. And it's going to be the base of the template. Now, I know I've never really made a public video on how to make actual hardened paper, but this is how you do it. Just take paper and regular old cheap glue, whatever you can find, and just spread it all over the paper. I think I'll make around 10 of these, maybe more, because I was gonna make it the same way as my M9 with wooden supports, but since my popsicle sticks aren't big enough to fit the bevels, I have to make them with paper. Alright, so I just spread glue all over one half of the paper, flatten out the paper again, make sure there aren't any air bubbles, and leave that under a heavy book to dry. I recommend up to 1 day of drying, or a minimum of 1 day, because if it's not dry, then you won't be able to work with it. And that's honestly it. I just do this over and over until I have the 10 sheets that I need. Alright, I'm pretty much done with my 10 sheets, and now all that's left to do is, honestly, trace it out and cut it out, but I don't want to do that just yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of these layers, I'm going to glue it together, and that's going to make the center of the blade. And I'm going to take 4 of these layers, glue together, that's going to be one support, and the other 4 of the layers is going to be the other support. So after I glue those together, I'm going to be ending up with 2 really thick pieces and 1 thinner piece. The thinner piece is going to be the center where the actual blade is, and the thicker pieces are going to be the support, and probably also the handle. I might make the handles thicker, not sure. Anyways, once I get that all settled, I'll probably get back to you, and by then I'll probably have the template already traced out and everything. So, alright, I've drawn in the template, and I'm about to cut it out. Where's my knife? There it is. So, a couple things I want to mention about this knife. I didn't trace out this hole because it's not going to be in the center. And, what else did I want to mention again? Actually, I think that's it. I didn't want to really cut the slit yet because it's not going to be in the center. I might want to iterate that the 10 sheets that I'm going to be using is only for the blade. I'll probably be making more layers for the handle, except I really haven't decided how many more. I'll probably make 8 more layers. 8 more hardened sheets dedicated just to the, just to the handle. This is also one of the reasons why it's really hard for me to answer a question when someone asks me, how many layers of paper did you use? Because I can either say that I use this many layers of hardened paper or this many layers of regular paper just by multiplying the amount of hardened paper that I use by 2. It's not, I don't really know. I just don't know. Anyway, disclaimer from now on, I'm probably just going to be talking in layers of hardened paper and not actual layers. So a knife could have taken maybe, 6 layers of hardened paper, which would be 12 layers of regular paper. Just single layers. I'm just gonna say 6 layers of hardened paper. Alright, that's about the gist of it. I'm not really too worried about accuracy right at this point, to be honest. Since this is going to be just covered by everything else, it's just a base template. So yeah, that's the centerpiece of the Huntsman, and well, it's doing pretty okay. I think it's alright. And next is to take the 4-layer sheets and to create the supports. Alright, so I've drawn off the I've drawn the template for the 4-layer stack, and interestingly enough, I didn't really figure this out until just now. You can fit 2 Huntsman templates onto one thing, on the one paper. This actually helps me out a lot because I was planning to do a thicker support anyway. Anyway, this is going to be the support layer, and I'm going to cut off both of these. And these are both going to be attached on one side of the blade. I'm going to do it again with another 4-sheet stack. Whoops. There we go. I'm going to do it again with another 4-sheet stack, which I have right here. And then they're going to be on the other side of the blade. So all in all, the blade is going to have 2 layers of paper for the center section, and 8 layers of support on each side. So I'm actually curious to see how it's going to look when I'm done with it. Anyways, a couple things to mention. Whoops, again. I'm going to cut out the actual slots in here this time, because on the support you do need it. These little dots, they're for the tang pins that I'm going to be inserting. I'll probably be using Q-tips or toothpicks, because I really don't feel like rolling up pieces of paper and using them as tang pins, to be honest. So yeah, you guys just saw me cut out the same template basically on the 2-layer sheet. I don't really want to just cut out the same thing over and over again in front of your guys' faces. So I want to get back to you when I'm done cutting out all 4 of these. I'm going to go and do the other 4 stack as well after this and come back. Another thing I want to mention before I cut out is the fact that I'm actually cutting this out while this thing is still wet. The glue hasn't completely dried yet, and the reason I'm cutting it out while it's wet is because it's just so much easier to cut out while it's wet. If it's all dry and it's rock solid, it's not going to cut at all. It's going to be a nightmare to cut. So anyone who wants to build this, quick tip, cut it when it's wet, or halfway between wet and dry. Alright, it's been a good hour and a half-ish, and I'm finally done cutting these out. One thing I forgot to mention is the fact that I took the template and I cut off the the bevel part of it, and I just traced that onto here and I cut that out. Also on here I kind of cut this part out because on the actual knife apparently this is what it actually looks like, and I noticed that honestly really recently, so I didn't know about it. So it's just gonna fit on like this, and then you take the center layer and you put it on over here, and then it looks like this right now. I'm thinking of making the center layer a bit thicker, but I'm not sure about that right now. These little holes are supposed to be filled in with pins, And right now, I've decided to use toothpicks for it because, well, it's just easier to get a hole for a toothpick. What I've been using to make the hole is this, which is part of a, I think it was called a bridge compass. In any case, it's the same thing as a compass, except instead of a pencil, there's a razor blade on it, so you can cut a circle with it. This piece, however, has a very fine little metal point, so I just use this as a needle tool, and I poke these holes in using this part. And the reason I do that is because I don't have a drill. If I had a drill, I would definitely use a drill, and I would recommend anyone who has a drill to use it and not use this needle technique. If you don't have a drill, though, you can always use this kind of needle technique. And if you don't have a needle, you can always, use something else, like maybe a skewer. This could also work, maybe, I don't know. But it has to be metal. What I use the skewer for is to enlarge a smaller hole, because this skewer is actually fairly thick. It's about twice the thickness of a toothpick. I'm not really sure. I use it as more of like a step up kind of hole widener, so I can make bigger holes if I need to. Let's say I want to fit a Q-tip instead of a toothpick. Q-tips are thicker than Q-tips. Shit, my bad. Q-tips are thicker than toothpicks. There you go. So, no, maybe I want to use it for that. Anyway. So far it looks really nice. The supports are really thick and strong. They're about as strong as the wooden supports I used on my my M9 knife right here. So, just a quick thickness comparison. This is only half the blade too. Once the blade is finished, I'll start wrapping the entire thing in paper, and then I'll start adding extra layers on the handle. So once that's done, then I can call the knife complete and I can paint it. Alright, so next time I'll probably be like when I come back, I'll probably be done with 2 more of these from the other piece of hardened paper, which is going to be a pain in the ass because these take a long ass time. But yeah, this knife's going to be pretty much done by then. So until next time. Okay, so this is day 2 of the project, and I've cut out the layers for the other half of my Huntsman. I decided to make another center layer to make it stronger, and layers are going to go on like this. Well, technically it's going to be in reverse order like this. So this entire thing is going to go on the other side of the knife like this. And as you can see, it's a very, very thick knife at this point. I do intend to do a stress test on this, so I want to make this as strong as possible. In any case, I'm happy with how it's turned out so far. What I'll probably do is I'll make the handle pieces next, or I'll probably cover the blade next. Either way, so far it's been good. And oh, it looks like I forgot to flush these. Another reason why I prefer the utility knife, the box cutters, over the X-Acto knives is because they can extend out to a very long length. And if you see here, these little things, when you poke a hole, they do protrude out, and that's a problem, so I have to cut them flush. And since these box cutters can extend to such a long length, I can simply just cut these out, and then they're flush with the rest of the blade. Yep. That's nice and simple. And this thing goes on the other side of this. I'll be gluing these together, and I'll be back when I'm done gluing them. Alright, I'm pretty much done gluing everything into place. And, let's see. Right now I'm going to do probably the most important part of making a knife, and that's super glue treating the tip. All you really do is just take super glue, make sure it's the liquid kind, and you just, kind of spread it on there. Alright, there's the tip all super glued. Flip to the other side, and repeat. And just rub it on there with a scrap piece of paper, I guess. It's pretty simple. I'm also gonna super glue the serrated edges because I feel like they're gonna take a lot of stress, and on the bayonet, I also super glue the serrated edges as well, because these really do take a lot of stress, and having the serrated edges break on you is something that really isn't easily fixable. So you want to get those down and hard as you can. Guys, literally that's all super glue treating is, just rub super glue on it. That's really it, and it will harden your life. It will harden your knife enough to pierce through cardboard, styrofoam, the basic stuff. I'll probably make just one sheet of hardened paper, and what I'll do is I will make another template of the full knife, and I'll wrap the entire thing in with the paper so it looks like it's beveled. And as soon as I get to that, as soon as I draw the template on and cut the template out, I'll get back to you and I'll film myself covering the knife. Okay, so I have my two little things cut out, and the only step left to do is apply them right here. I'm going to work on this one first, and really it's just simple. You take this and you kind of stick it on here, and you kind of score where the knife is going to be, like where the bevel is going to start and everything. You just kind of score it first to see how it works, everything. And this seems to work pretty well. And so all you really have to do is glue it in place now. Just take the glue and just kind of put it everywhere where the bevel starts. And I don't know, take a scrap piece or something, spread it around. When you're done with that, you just put it on. And you kind of like wait for that to dry. And that's the first step. The second step requires you to fold fold these over and glue it at the edges. But since this takes way too long to dry, we're going to use something a bit simpler. Trusty old Superglue. I had to get a new bottle because I used up the last of it while I was strengthening the supports only on the edges though. I didn't put any on the actual side, only on the edges. And so I'm gonna start at the bottom here, and I'm just gonna apply some super glue at the edge like this. Pretty simple. And just kind of fold this in pretty quickly. It's not completely dry yet, so I can't touch it. Continue along the line right here. Oh, whoops, okay, my finger got stuck. That's just great. As soon as I said, gotta be careful not you put your finger on the glue, I get my finger on the glue. Okay, now just on the tip. This is the tricky part. This might not work, actually. This is the same thing that happened to my M9, where it kind of folded right there. I had to go with it, though, because I didn't have another piece to go with. So it worked out somewhat. I can sand this down and I can fix it up later. So, right. And now time for the serrated edges, which is actually a lot easier than you might think. So, all you really have to do is apply glue to this tip and just kind of get this to stick somehow. Once you get it to stick though, everything is easy from that point. And I just fold in these corners that I kind of cut out myself. Oops. It'd be nice if I had a toothpick. I don't have one right now, so I'll just do that later. Okay, it's like second laceration. And that's stuck. Alright, so the last one is a bit different because it kind of curves in, and you need that to be beveled as well, so I have to put glue all around this edge. And, oh my god. And I kind of have to like stick it along the way. Which is also done fairly easily. Again, there's some excess, so I can just sand that out. And these just fold inwards. Let me just get a toothpick for this real quick. Okay, I got a skewer. Good enough. And then you kind of just glue those tabs into place as well with some glue. They don't look too good right now, but they will look better eventually. I'm trying not to get the skewer stuck on the blade. That'd be weird. Alright, so there we have one side of the blade done. And it looks fairly okay. Problem is, there are these holes. But what I usually do with them is I fill them up with glue and they dry in place like that. These holes, however, you can't really do that. So what I'm going to do is take a scrap piece. I'm just going to cut a little rectangle, maybe about this big. Okay, and I'm just going to slide it into here. Now I can actually mark where I want to cut it. And I cut the size that I need. There. It slides right in. Like this. And all you really have to do is put some super glue. And where is my skewer? Anyways, I'll get back to you when I'm done with the other side. Alright, so both sides are now paneled. And technically this is ready to go and plow through some cardboard right now. But last thing we have to do is finish the pieces for the handle. To be honest, what ended up happening while I was gluing the entire knife together was that these holes ended up being very, very misaligned. I'm not really sure if you can see that. But you can still see through it, but it's kind of at an angle now. So, because, you know, they got really misaligned, I can't use those as actual tang pins anymore. So I'm just going to have to actually just cover the entire thing with just a piece of paper, and then, I don't know, maybe glue on some tiny paper circles. So what I'm going to do is, again, make some more hardened sheets. This time that are 4-layer thick, I think. Yeah, 4-layer thick sounds about good. So, I'll just make those 4 layers of hardened sheets and I'll come back. Alright, so I'm going to cut these out real quick. Okay, this got really screwed up. This piece right here, oh my god, let's see if this will focus. Yeah, this right here got really jacked up. So, I'm gonna have to super glue this. Okay, so first template's all nice and snazzy, but this part right here is really bugging me. I'll probably have to sand it down. I'll just get a small piece. And yeah. Looks better now. Right. So just gonna put that right there. And then I'm gonna put this right here. Okay, so the handle piece is more or less done. And these parts right here I had to cut off. I had to freehand sketch it because I kind of lost the template. So, yeah, that's what I get for not thinking anything through. Okay, alright. Got the other part of the handle done, glued them both on, and holy Jesus, this became so much more of a bulky knife than I had originally thought it out to be. This is so much larger than my initial thought was, but come on, it looks really cool. Okay, so now that I'm done with almost everything, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start sanding. Oh boy, sanding. If you guys don't know, for the people who make stuff like this, and for the people who sand them down, sanding fucking sucks. Yeah. Especially since, by the time I'm done sanding this, half of this bottle will be gone. Sanding does require using Superglue because when you just sand on the knife, without any Superglue treatment, it's not going to sand properly. I will 100% guarantee you that it is not going to sand properly. Not only that, you have to start carving stuff out with your knife. It really damages your knife. Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. So, although I really don't want to, let us begin. Alright, sanding is pretty much done with, and well, if you guys haven't been able to tell, sanding makes a lot of mess. It really does. I think I'll just trash everything that's on here right now, but the end result was a lot better than I expected. I can't talk. A lot better than I expected. I had to contour all these little things, and then I contoured the handle in general. Let's see if I can focus that. Alright, there we go. It's nice and round. I wish I could show you this in a better angle, but I don't think I can show you in a better angle other than this. It's very nice and round. I also covered up this edge, there was two really big noticeable holes there, and I just wanted to cover that up. Still haven't covered these holes yet, though I doubt I'll get to it. Because first of all, this looks cool as fuck. Second of all, it's hard to get to. It's really, really hard to get to. Like, on my M9, I still don't think I have it completely filled up. The way that I've been thinking of filling it up is maybe like, you know, maybe like crafting clay. But, that really wouldn't do justice. So, I'm just gonna settle with this. And only thing I really have left to do is just make the 4 little pins that go on here. Just make, like, you know, just take this, I guess, make 4 little circles. Bam, 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 bam. And we're pretty much ready to go with this Huntsman. And I just noticed this, but there are quite a few differences between the Huntsman in the game and the Huntsman in real life. One of which being this hole in the game is filled up. So that kind of pissed me off because I spent a lot of time on this hole. These holes, they take a lot of time to cut out and they hurt your hand. So that kind of pisses me off. Speaking of holes, this slot is also not in the game, which also pisses me off. So yeah, there's that, and the fact that in the real one, the metal is shown up to around right there, and then from that on, it's just all handle. While in the real game, or in the game, the metal is shown going throughout the entire part. Small differences like that, though. Other than that, I mean, it's a Huntsman. What can you say? One thing I probably shouldn't have done was made this groove a bit too deep, because this groove looks really deep, and looking at it from a certain angle almost makes it look like, you know, like there's a hole and not a groove. So I might take a thin piece of paper and just kind of you know, curl it in there, but yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do that because of my strict time limit right now. Anyways, yeah, this has been the build vlog for the Huntsman. I still don't know what skin I want to make it. I might just upload it without a skin at all, like the Karambit, because, you know, the amount of skins that are on the Huntsman, not that many. the amount of skins you can have on a Huntsman is just, you know, too little, and I, you know, don't really want to. Too much work. Honestly. This has been enough work already. I'm pretty sure this knife I've worked the most on. This took around 3-4 days. The M9 took around 2 days. And Karambit and Valsong took 1 day each. So this by far has taken, out of all my CSGO knives, this has by far taken up the most time. I'm proud of how it came out, actually. I'm really glad on how it came out. And since it's strong enough to actually cut through cardboard, styrofoam, your everyday, you know, material, it's, you know, I'm really happy with the result. I'm not disappointed at all. I have had, you know, little mishaps and little trip-ups, but in the end, I feel like it was worth it. So, yeah, this is the end of the build vlog, basically, where, you know, this is the boring part where I tell you to subscribe and stuff. So, yeah, subscribe, like, comment, yada, 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 all that good stuff. See ya.